What's happening, guys? Chael Sonnen here, and you need to know when you're the greatest podcast in the world today, they got a name for you. They don't call you a great podcast. They call you the Gentleman Podcast. Beat that if you can.
Welcome, everybody, to the most up-and-coming podcast this side of the Western Hemisphere. Peter, Brian, Gary, and Eddie. We are the Gentlemen.
This is the podcast.
Before we get started, remember to like, follow, and subscribe us on all social media platforms, and please share our videos. It really means a lot to us, and please leave us some feedback as well. But don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. Please get the word out about the Gentlemen. Tonight is a very special podcast. We're going to break down UFC 250, the pay-per-view tomorrow night. So, Brian, kick it off.
Yeah, so we have UFC 250. It takes place at the UFC Apex. This is the first pay-per-view taking place at this arena. I'm looking forward to it. I enjoyed the fights the last week that were held there.
It's not much of an arena, to be honest. But
I like it. I think it's cool. It reminds me of what WWE is doing at the Performance Center. It's like their own little home base. I think it's interesting. It's cool.
Reminds me of Tough.
Yeah, it's more intimate than a full arena that's completely empty. I appreciate it. I like it. Either way,
definitely different.
Yeah, it's different. Different is good. I like this card. A lot of people aren't too sold on it. I like it. I really do. I think there's some interesting matchups.
Big for the bantamweights.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of.
I like the main card more than the prelims. There's a lot of great fights on the main card, but
we got a couple of sleepers on the prelims, but
the prelims is very good also.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do is each of us are gonna pick one prelim that we want to talk about that we feel is worth noting, and we have some specific points we want to touch on, and then we're going to collectively speak on each of the main card fights. I'm gonna kick us off with Alonzo Menifield versus Devin Clark.
Yeah.
Alonzo Menifield, this guy is 9-0. I know he's the favorite, and he should be. This guy, remember his name. Remember me talking about him. He doesn't even have a Wikipedia page yet, but he will. I'm telling you, this guy is 9-0. He has a 100% finish rate, and he's a monster, a complete monster. Devin Clark is good, but I feel like Menifield is just too strong, he's too powerful, and I think he's going to finish him very, very quickly, first round.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you on that one. My prelim pick that I'm going to choose to talk about is actually a fight that was originally scheduled, then canceled for like 10 minutes, and then there was a new opponent for another 10 minutes, and then the original opponent came back in. So it was just a whirlwind. I can't imagine what the GM3 Gerald Meerschaert is going through, having so many changes in such a short notice. But this fight is Ian Heinisch versus Gerald Meerschaert. Like I said, his nickname is GM3. I am a big fan of him. I've been following him for quite some time now. And he's a very unorthodox style, and I think he's going to really be tough in this fight his fight, and then towards the later rounds, he's going to maybe sneak a submission in. That's what he tends to do. He did that against Darren Wynn last card, UFC 248. He rear naked choked him. Ian Heinisch is coming off 2 straight losses. He hasn't really looked impressive in some time. And also, Gerald is an underdog in this fight. Once again, he was also an underdog last card. People keep sleeping on him. But I think he's going to have a convincing victory this fight, and he'll no longer be an underdog going forward.
I like that. I've got the Cody Staheim versus Brian Kelleher fight. There's a lot going on with this fight. Everybody knows what's going on. But I got Staheim winning. I think his wrestling and his striking are going to be the difference in this fight. I think he's going to keep the fight standing, and he's going to avoid Brian Kelleher's power. He's going to keep him on the outside. He's going to keep changing levels. I think he's going to win the fight.
You got to say, though, that knockout that Brian Kelleher had last time he fought, actually just a few weeks ago against Hunter Azor, that was sick.
It was really an awesome knockout, but I think the wrestling in this fight's going to be too much.
No, I have to agree with you, but his opponent that night was Hunter Azor. He was supposed to be an up-and-coming, high-potential guy, and then Brian Kelleher, just knocked him out. So, but I do agree that Stamen might take this fight.
Not a bad pick, brother. Not a bad pick.
Eddie, you're up.
As far as I'm concerned, I think my pick, as far as the prelim is concerned, I got the Kid Dynamite versus Coconut Bombs fight for this one, actually. Charles Bird versus Maki Pitolo.
Had that fight written down, but by the way, Eddie, for fight of the night.
You think so, right? I mean,
Continue.
they both, as far as I'm concerned, both of them have nothing to lose, so to say, on this one. Kid Dynamite is over here looking to rebound, especially from his last two fights, his last one being at UFC 235. Nonetheless, all of his past 6 fights have also ended in a tight finish as well. Coconut Bombs, on the other hand, over here, still trying to make a name for himself, but the numbers speak for itself as well. Considering most of his fights, they've all ended at a 50% TKO, actually. As submission-wise, Charles Bird has the advantage on this one, but like you said, Gary, I think this one ends in another tight finish as well. Bombs away for this one. I got Coconut Bombs for this fight.
Really?
Yeah.
You think Charles Bird's going to lose?
I think it's going to be bloody, if that's what you meant, man. Like, I think it's really going to go hands-on for this one.
That would be quite an upset, Eddie. You know, Charles Bird is fighting out of Fortis MMA. It's a great camp there. But, you know, if that upset happens, props to you, man.
Hey, man. Every dog has his day, bro.
That's true.
Absolutely. All
But
right.
it could, because I think that's going to be a fight of the night.
It is. I agree with Eddie. It's going to be fireworks, man.
I think it's going to be a great fight. I don't think it's going to be fight of the night, though. I have another fight that I think is going to be fight of the night.
Are we moving on to the main card?
Yeah,
We are. And the first fight on the main card is what I think is going to be fight of the night. Eddie Wineland versus Sugar Sean O'Malley. Everyone's excited to see the Sugar Sean show once again. This guy's it looks like he's turning into like McGregor version 2.0. The way they're,
Interesting.
the way he portrays himself, the way the company is promoting him and whatnot. And he deserves it. He's fantastic. He's great. He's 11-0, young kid, 25 years old. However, I actually have Eddie Wineland going over in this fight.
Wow.
Yeah, I think the veteran mentality, and he's going to play it smart. I think he's going to win by decision.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, you heard me.
What?
Just registered on TV.
Eddie Wineland has been fighting since Sean O'Malley was about 10 years old. This guy's been through WEC.
WEC, yeah, I know. I remember.
First WEC champ.
Yeah. I just, for some reason, I think Eddie Wineland is going to put the fire out. He's going to be the fireman. He's going to put the fire out. I think he's going to win by decision.
Decision for this one.
Yeah, and I like Sugar Sean. I really do. I'm even kind of rooting for him.
I don't know, bro.
I'm going to have to disagree.
I know everyone's going to disagree. I know.
You know, originally in my head I was saying, Sugar Sean, TKO first round. But then, like you said, I started to realize just how long Eddie Wineland's been around, WEC, UFC. I mean, fucking WEC, what was he fighting back in like 2003?
2003. Oh, WEC, yeah, around 2004. Yeah,
He was the first bantamweight to featherweight champion. I forget which one. He was the first one.
Yeah, bantamweight in 2006.
Guy's been around forever, man. He's smart.
So,
he knows what this kid's going to be, what he has in store
listen,
for him.
So what I'm saying is, I mean, he's not that old either. He's only 35. But
he's got a lot of mileage on it for a 35-year-old.
He does. He definitely does. But I will say this. I don't see Sugar Sean TKOing him like I originally thought, but I do still think he wins a convincing decision.
Okay.
Wow. So no submission for this one.
I've been going back and forth. I don't think a submission. If Sugar Sean's going to win, it's going to be by a TKO or a decision. But I've been going back and forth between the two. My gut is telling me TKO because Sugar Sean is just that good. You know, he's that good, man. The kid's amazing.
I hear you, bro.
The toughness from Eddie Wineland and the experience tells me that he hangs in there. But he still loses the decision, but he doesn't get knocked out.
I agree with you. Let me stop talking shit because I agree 100% with everything that you just said, man.
I'll be that guy. Sean O'Malley's going to run through Eddie Wineland. all due respect to Eddie Wineland, but Eddie Wineland, it's just he was in 2011, I think it was. He came into the UFC and fought Uriah Faber. Uriah Faber's first UFC fight when they came from the WEC, and he was like old then. Coming up now, almost 10 years later, I think this is Sean O'Malley's hungry to get back in there. He knows he's going to be the first fight in the pay-per-view. He's going to look to make a statement. He's going to go out there, finish Eddie Wineland quick. All due respect to Eddie Wineland, I just think he's not. O'Malley's just going to be too much for him.
I got first one KO for this one.
Sugar Sean?
Sugar Sean, man.
There's not much more that needs to be said.
Yeah.
Duly noted.
All right. That's fair enough. So the next fight on the main card is Neil Magny and Anthony Rocco Martin.
His favorite fighter, Neil Magny.
Just wait until my turn to speak. Just wait.
You could say whatever's on your mind, but I'm going with Neil Magny on this one. I always, my heart is always with this guy. For some reason, he's an incredible fighter. Incredible fighter. When in doubt, you go with Neil Magny. He's been to the top. He's always fighting top competition. I'm telling you, this guy's a beast. I think he's going to beat Anthony Rocco Martin.
Wow.
Well,
Wow.
where do I begin? UFC 248, March 7th. I had a 7-fighter parlay on the line. 7-fighter parlay. Don't laugh, Eddie.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
I'm still mad. 7-fighter parlay. And I'm going to bring it up right here. You guys can see. I don't know if you can see it or not.
Oh, I remember it.
Fighters.
Oh, I remember it very clearly. It was in my house.
Look at that. That looks like a Palm Pilot right there, man. Oh, my God.
I had winning Giga Chikadze, Gerald Meashart, Mark Madsen, Sean O'Malley, Weili Zhang, and Israel Adesanya. All 6 of those fighters all won their fights. The 7th fighter, Neil Magny against Li Jiangliang. I picked Li Jiangliang. He ends up losing.
I advised against that one.
So, because Neil Magny cost me the opportunity of winning $5,000 that night, I will never doubt him again, and I am picking Neil Magny. I don't care who he fights. He could be fighting frickin' John Jones at this point. I'm picking Neil Magny.
I'm telling you, this Neil Magny's awesome. Solid fighter. Listen, top tier.
It helps when he's that cool with Justin Gaethje too, man. It helps. Not to mention Martin. He hasn't landed a takedown in his last 7 fights. So.
Eddie, go into it. Who do you got?
He just said Neil Magny.
Yeah. Slim though, but Magny.
I'm gonna go with Magny also. They fight kind of the same style. The guys that give Neil Magny trouble are the guys that are heavy-handed, guys who have big power. Martin really doesn't. Look back to the Lorenz Larkin fight. Those are the kind of guys that give Neil Magny problems. I think Magny's going to be, with his veteran smarts, grind out a victory. He's just a little bit better than Martin. I think he's going to win the season.
Good pick.
Good insight right there.
Next up, we have Aljamain Sterling versus Corey Sandhagen.
The real main event.
The real fight of the night.
This is going to be a sick fight. I'm really looking forward to this.
This should be the co-main event. Not the
This should be 5 rounds.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started. This should be 5 rounds.
Honestly, this should be a main event on a fight night.
Yeah. No offense to Jessica I, but that should be the main event of that fight.
Absolutely. So, and honestly, this is the fight that I've had the most trouble with out of the whole entire card. Aljamain Sterling, he's always right there to the title. That close. Always, at all times, he's that good. But Sandhagen, man, this guy's good. He's on a 7-fight win streak?
Mm-hmm.
He just beat Rafael Assunção, who was fighting Cody on the same night. He's a good fighter. He's tremendous. He's up and coming. I gotta go with my heart, though. I gotta go with Aljamain Sterling, and I could be a little biased because he's a local guy. I'm a big fan of his as well, but I just feel like he's a little more elite than Sandhagen. I'm going with Aljo.
Good pick, brother, because I'm going with him as well. This one was a little hard, though, man. Yeah, Sandhagen's been on a 7-fight streak. But let's also remember he's been taken down in all 5 of his UFC fights as well. Sterling himself, he's a pretty damn good submission artist himself. So, I mean, that could go both ways as far as that one is concerned as well. Like I said, this one was a little close, but I'm taking Sterling slightly. Shout out to the Funk Master.
Well, I'm going to be the different guy here. I'm going with Sandman.
All right.
The ginger himself, Corey Sandhagen. And the reason why I'm going with him is because this guy never gives up. He really doesn't. I mean, a couple of years ago, 2018, he was fighting Alcantara, I believe. And Alcantara had him in like this arm lock, twister, submission, arm bar kind of thing. And he had him in there for like a good 3-4 minutes. And the guy, and while he had him in that lock, he was also punching Sandhagen in the face, busting him open, just bleeding all over the place, twisting his arm. He never tapped the entire time. He actually ended up escaping from that position, TKOing Alcantara, beating the crap out of him. The guy's a warrior, man. He never gives up. I mean, I love Sterling too. Sterling is a great fighter. This is going to be the fight of the night, in my opinion. But I'm gonna have to go with Sandhagen by unanimous decision.
All right.
It's not a bad pick.
You can't go wrong. This is one of the fights. I mean, that's why it's so tough.
It's tough. I'm gonna take Sterling in a split decision victory. Sandhagen's Cruz-like in his striking. He's like awkward, like Dominic Cruz, you know. So I know he's gonna have these weird angles come at him with the striking. But I think Sterling has better cardio. I think that's gonna be a big factor in his fight. Sterling can fight forever, you know. Got good cardio. So Sandhagen has hired in the past. So I think Sterling's gonna work. He's gonna get good position on the ground, wear him out a little bit. You know, from Serra Longo. So he's definitely got the ground game
biased
down pat. I'm gonna go with Sterling. I think he's got.
So I'm the only one. I'm the only one who picked Sandhagen, huh?
It's not a bad pick, Pete.
No,
seriously.
It's not. It's a either or fight. Pete said it best. It should be 5 rounds. And honestly, if it's not 5 rounds, it should be. It's a title eliminator. It should be the co-main event. It should be getting more signs of co-main event. But the winner of this fight's going to be fighting for the title. So.
Yeah.
You're right. Which brings us
regardless,
to the
man. I mean, this whole card, man. It's a great bantamweight card.
I like the card.
There is no bantamweight champion right now, right? There's no bantamweight champion. So this should have been for the bantamweight championship.
There's no bantamweight champion. There's no light heavyweight champion. There's no BMF champion. But we'll talk about that later.
Come on. Let's not start that now.
Anyways, co-main event time. We have Cody Garbrandt and Rafael Assunção. I love this fight. I think this is going to be amazing. It's going to be a war. It's going to be very fast-paced. Do not blink. Both of these guys are coming off a couple of losses. Rafael Assunção is coming off a loss to Sandhagen and Marlon Moraes, and Cody's coming off of three knockout losses. Yeah. 2 to TJ and 1 to Pedro Munoz. So you know both of these guys have a fire lit under their ass. They're going to be going for the knockout, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
As great as they both are, I just feel like Cody is like straight line focused right now. I've never seen him this focused. Like usually you see he talks crap a little bit. He had the emotions running behind him with the TJ fights. There's none of that with this. It looks like a completely different Cody. Not to mention that he switched training camps and he's training with the amazing Mark Henry, Frank Yeager's coach, Corey Anderson, that whole crew. I think this is going to be a new Cody, and I think he's going to beat Assunção. I do.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
I'm assuming this is something we could all agree on, then.
Gary?
Well,
there's always going to be one.
Let me give my explanation. Assunção is about to be 38 years old.
Yeah.
No one realizes that point. He's about to be 38. He's been around, man.
Yeah.
27-7, brother. 27-7.
You know, he's on a 2-fight losing streak, like Brian said. Not to discredit his talent, you know, still a great fighter, but he's getting up there in age. On the flip side, Cody, he's only going to be 29 next month. He's still relatively young. He's still learning. He's still improving. And I think he's really going to learn a lot from these last 3 losses that he had. and switching training camps. He even grew a full beard now, so that might help his chin a little bit. That might help his chin, absorb
every
a punch.
little bit counts. Every little bit.
But Cody has the speed advantage, the power advantage.
Yeah.
I think he's going to come out guns a-blazing early. He's going to get an early stoppage, early TKO by Cody.
Eddie, did you agree?
Well, I agree. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Ralphie over here, man. I mean, he's a perpetual contender looking to get back on track, especially after losing that unanimous decision to Corey Sandhagen last August, bro. Well, I mean, like you said, Brian, Cody's kind of a man on a mission type over here. Took a year off, looking to make a statement after losing those last 3 fights via KO. But let's not forget, before the last 3 losses, he had himself a nice little 11-fight win streak as well. So, Cody it is, man. Cody it is.
Oh, God. Here we go.
Garrett.
I'm going with Sun Sal. I'm going to tell you why.
Please.
Cody, listen, he's on a mission. He changed camps. But the thing that's being talked about, he had to cut his camp short for Mark Henry, fly back to California, end the camp with them just because of the whole COVID thing.
It's a conspiracy.
Listen, Cody, his last fight came out guns a-blazing, got hit with that one shot. He hit a big shot also, but that was it. I think Cody's chin is not the same anymore. I just think he hit that point with the TJ fights. His chin is slowly starting, and it's not going to take a big shot for him to get rocked a little.
He grew a beard. He has a beard now.
Brock Lesnar grew a beard. Sorry, buddy. Brock Lesnar grew a beard out for Cain Velasquez, and we were all like, he's going to take a good punch.
Yeah, he took a good punch to the back of the head. We're not talking about that.
Yeah, okay.
Continue. Because I want to continue.
I'm not done. I'm going to – that also – Suns out is all-time. He's taken the third less punches in UFC bantamweight history. I think he's going to stay elusive. He's going to grind out a victory.
Okay, Gary.
What kind of analytics was that?
Hold
Gary?
on. You remember the Dominic Cruz fight?
Yes. How long ago was that?
It doesn't matter because the focus was there. Cody never had a good chin, but nobody touched him until TJ. And he wasn't. And his focus was off. He had the emotions going. I'm telling you right now, this is a focused Cody. But that's how
he fights. He had his emotions for Cruz. He went to fight Cruz during the interview. Listen, I'm not saying anything about his preparation, his focus. I'm just saying if he gets hit, he's not gonna be able to. And I think Assunção's gonna use his grappling to grind out a victory.
It's like Overeem. They don't have a good chin, but when they're focused and when they're on, they're on. I'm telling you.
Listen,
all right, but listen.
Cody put on one of the best championship performances I've ever seen against Cruz.
Why don't you two do a push-up challenge, Brian versus Gary?
Whoa. We still owed our push-ups.
That's true.
Wait.
Listen, I'll do it. I have no problem.
We're not worried about you, Pete.
I'm making a rule right now. There are no more push-up challenges or anything until you guys do yours. And I know, Pete, you're not afraid to do push-ups.
Edward?
Let's move on to the main event, Brian.
Main event time. All right. We have Amanda Nunes and Felicia Spencer. Who? Yeah, Felicia Spencer. This girl.
Canadian.
This girl is going to be the next champ. Listen.
Who? Felicia?
You heard me. Felicia Spencer. Upset of the night.
Brian, come on. You've been doing good all fucking night, man.
So you're saying Sean O'Malley's going to lose and Amanda Nunes is going to lose.
Brian, just parlay that and you'll be set.
Just parlay it, bro. Go ahead.
Parlay that, throw $100 on it, your wedding.
You're all invited onto my yacht. All of you. Listen, Amanda Nunes, no one's taking anything away from her. I was watching the countdown, and so the way they had set the countdown up was like, and it happened. Amanda Nunes was watching, I forget what night it was, but Felicia Spencer was fighting and Megan Anderson were fighting on the same night. It was for title contention, and whoever they thought looked more dominant, more impressive would get the title shot. Felicia Spencer ended up winning. She got the title shot, obviously. Megan Anderson looked much more dominant than Felicia Spencer did. She had a quick, beautiful knockout, TKO. She looked really impressive. I think, personally, Amanda Nunes saw that she could beat Felicia Spencer easier, and she picked her. to fight. I also feel that Amanda Nunes eventually, maybe not with this fight, but I can see the Anderson Silva, the Ronda Rousey, where they're just getting to the point where they're tired of beating people, cleaning out divisions, and they're going to lose sight, lose focus, and they're going to underestimate an opponent, and they're going to get caught. I don't know if it's going to happen with this fight, but I do see it happening with her. Eventually.
I see where you're going with this, Brian. Let me ask you this, though.
Go for it.
So you really think her activities outside of the octagon is going to possibly ruin her focus for this fight?
No, I don't think – no. I think she's going to underestimate one of her opponents, and it could be Felicia Spencer. Felicia Spencer, she's 8-1, I believe. Yeah, 8-1, and that one loss is to Cyborg, and that's not to take anything away from her, but it was a decision. And
she went the whole way.
She went the whole way. She busted Cyborg up. She landed shots on her. She's tough as nails. She has a good submission game. She's very unorthodox. I can see her catching Nunes and maybe even submitting her. Now, I know Nunes is like elite, but if she underestimates Felicia Spencer at all, I'm telling you, it's going to be game over. This is my upset of the decade, Matt Serra GSP style.
I knew you were going to fucking say that, man. Come on, man.
Have at it.
That's
Well,
ridiculous.
if that happens, that'll continue the streak of underdogs winning the main event since what? Like, how long now?
Since we started.
Since this podcast started.
Yes.
Since the UFC came back. Since the UFC came back. But I don't see it happening again tomorrow. I just don't. I know Felicia Spencer, she's tough as nails. She's a big girl. You know, she stood in there with Cyborg for all those rounds. It was a bloody war. But I don't think she's faced the level of competition that Amanda has or beaten the level of competition Amanda has. And one day, you know, Amanda might get to that point where she gets tired of winning all the time and she starts, you know, taking it easy a little bit. But I don't think that time is tomorrow. I'm sorry. I think Amanda Nunes wins this.
Eddie,
It's going to be a quick ass whooping, Brian. I'm sorry to say, man.
Don't apologize to me. I'm not taking the ass whooping.
I mean, no, not. Come on, man. I'm not taking anything literal over there, man. But I mean, listen. If Cyborg could not just have the same start as she had her last fight, which she completely lollygagged those first couple rounds, man, I'm telling you, bro.
Amanda Nunes, you mean, not Cyborg.
Yeah, Amanda Nunes, yeah, Amanda Nunes.
Yeah, we were talking about Cyborg before, that's why.
Yeah. It's a common mistake. Anyways.
Anything's possible.
Yeah. I mean, Nunes, like I told you, man, easy wipeout, 1, 2, 3. This is going to be a squash match, bro. That's all it is, man. This is going to be a squash match. This is going to be equivalent to Al Snow versus Viscera from circa 1998, man. I'm sorry. That's exactly what's gonna happen, man.
Viscera?
Go ahead.
Rest in peace,
I'm
by
done.
the way. Rest
I'm
in
done,
peace,
man. Nunes, 35-second knockout.
What?
35 seconds.
Eddie, if that happens, I'll give you 100 push-ups in a row.
I'm telling you, man. It's done. It's done, man.
Shout out to Midian.
Shout out to Viscera. Rest in peace.
I got I can't believe Viscera. I got Nunes. I think early second round KO. I got her. I will say this. Brian brought up a good point about the Anderson Silva thing. The fact Dana White said also that she has fighters in 2 different weight classes training for her and watching film on her. So that could be a fact. But I just think she's the GOAT. I think she's gonna win another one.
She is. She is the GOAT. If she keeps her focus and she doesn't underestimate anyone and she doesn't hang around for too long, that's a big thing too. With Anderson Silva, he stood around for a little too long. She will be. I mean, she is right now. She's the best women's fighter of all time. If she continues this, no one will be able to touch her ever. Her legacy. But just out of curiosity, what are the odds for this fight? What is
Pete, you got?
Just out of curiosity.
It's something crazy, bro. It really is.
I can imagine.
What is it? Negative 5 something?
I got Nunes as a minus 605 favorite, and Spencer at a plus 435 dog.
Oh,
I got Felicia Spencer plus 500, Nunes minus 750. Wow.
all right. So it's not that outlandish.
No, that's bro.
It's outlandish.
That's outlandish. Plus 500, minus 750.
Poppycock.
And also Sean O'Malley is minus 500, so he's a pretty big favorite too.
All right.
I
Fair
don't know.
enough. But
Anybody else?
listen, this
Anybody
is
else
a
have
good
any
card.
thoughts? Yeah, I like this card.
I'm
like it.
excited. I'm excited for the great fights tomorrow night.
I'm excited for anything, honestly. With everything going on, I just want to see something.
Yeah,
But
I
I'm
agree.
looking forward to this. Absolutely.
Well, after the break, we'll be right back with an interview
Absolutely.
with Giga Chikadze. So stay tuned for that. Very excited.
Don't want to miss it. There he is.
Hey, what's going on?
Perfect. What's
Giga.
up, guys?
Welcome
going
to
on?
the Gentleman Podcast.
Hey.
How's it
for
going?
Your interest talking to me. Everything is good, my friend. How about you?
Good. Thank you
good.
for taking the time to join us today. I just wanted to first of all congratulate you on your amazing performance against Erwin Rivera a couple weeks back. I
Thank
know
you.
I know he wasn't your original opponent. It was actually Mike Davis who canceled a couple times. How frustrating, I wanted to ask you, how frustrating is it when an opponent pulls out of a fight last minute, especially when it happens a couple times?
Yeah, it's bad, man. It's really bad. Like, especially like if the opponent cancels once, it's already bad. You know. Then second time, after that, you don't even think about to fight the same opponent. And but when they asked me again for the third time, I was like, okay, now it's time. I'm gonna beat his ass. You know? I'm gonna punish this guy. That's what I was thinking. But honestly, at some point, I didn't want it to take this fight. Against him, because he has done nothing after my winning fight, and I feel like I was already on a different position than him. And I was angry. You know, I wanted to beat him. That's why I took the fight, because he wasted my 2 camp, and now he wasted my 3 camp. I'm never gonna fight this guy. I'm not taking this fight anymore.
Well, honestly, I think you guys are on different levels now. You're on a winning streak. I think he might be on a losing streak or something. So it wouldn't even make sense for you to fight him at this point. But besides that, I have to say, I'm a huge fan of your fighting style. You know, your background in kickboxing and karate. It really is, in my opinion, one of the most entertaining styles to watch, and it's also very effective too. Can you tell us a little bit about how your transition from kickboxing into MMA is going?
I don't know if you guys know, but I was training karate since I was 4 years old. My background is karate, and I've done like many different styles. And one of the main style I was fighting and training was Goju-ryu, and it's very similar to Kyokushin. Like I was competing on both of the styles in different competitions. And then I decided to start kickboxing, and the reason was, first of all, I was a big fan of K1, and I wanted to be like one of those fighters who goes to Japan and fights a big league. And beside this, I was planning to get married soon, and I needed some money to, provide my family. And karate don't pay shit, so I had to do a little transition. Yeah. So, but the karate is still my hobby. That's one of the best things I love to do it and train. But then I did my transition. I started slowly to do a little bit of boxing to mix up my hands and kicks. And then I moved in Holland, in Netherlands, where I lived for 7 years, a little over than 7 years. And it was a big move, I was with my wife and with my daughter there, and we had nobody completely. I'm from country Georgia, and in Holland there are now a lot of Georgians, and we started from zero. And then we built something, and after 7 years, I'm telling to my wife that, nah, that's not it. We're moving forward. We're going to move to California. My wife was like, oh, again? You know, like Los Angeles and California, good weather, all this sounds so well. So we moved here, and I started to do now again different sports, MMA. I had to learn wrestling. I had to start training in Jiu-Jitsu. And that was, it took some time, you know. I fought in the same year when I moved, was 2015. I fought, same time I was fighting the Glory, the kickboxing, highest league of the kickboxing. And same time I was doing my transitions to MMA. And I fought in World Series of Fighting, my first debut. And then I lost this fight. And it was very frustrating for me because I thought my wrestling and jiu-jitsu was on the level that I could start knocking the people out already. But yeah, guy was a good wrestler. He hugged me as more as my wife and my kids hugged me, you know. So like, he held me there for 3 rounds, and then that's how I started my MMA. So.
That's great. One of my favorite fighters of all time was Lyoto Machida, and he had a similar karate style like, you know, you have with the liver kicks and the crazy combinations. I want to ask you, what MMA fighters have influenced you or you aspire to or try to, you know, model your style?
Definitely Lyoto is one of them. And like, see, when I was back in the days when I was training karate, I was watching this guy and yeah, I want to be this guy. You know? But first of all, I started to watch UFC when I was 5, 6 years old. Oh, wow. And I watched the Royce Gracie and I was like, wow, who's this guy? Even he was not just striking, he was using the gi. At that time I was training in a gi, and that's okay. So I thought that was kind of future me, you know. Maybe I was not doing the submissions at the moment, but that was so impressive for me to see the fighting guy in gi inside the cage. Definitely Gracie was one of them. Lyoto, yeah, I would say these two for sure.
Nice. I know you recently called out Edson Barboza, and I think that would be a fantastic fight. Tell us a little why you chose him out of everyone in the featherweight division.
That's exactly why I chose him, because he's people saying that he's the best striker in the UFC now. Like, they've been saying the past few years that Edson is so entertaining. He has all the tools. He fought all the big names. And I see the people, like, when they play PlayStation, a lot of people choosing Edson because he can do some nice spinning kicks and stuff. I want to be one of them. You know, I know I can beat this guy. I know I can bring the better techniques on the table. And people, MMA fans, they don't know me. They don't know what I'm capable of.
Not yet. Soon they will,
not
right?
Yet. Exactly. And that's why it will be fun to see this guy and me against each other inside the cage. Maybe Fight Island, if it ever happens. I would say this will be like a real Mortal Kombat thing. You know,
that'd be awesome.
People would enjoy, like him, because he has fought my brother Benil Dariush, and we all know how it happened. Benny was winning the first round against one of the best strikers of the world. So I want to fight this guy. I really want to fight this guy. Nothing really, nothing personal. Only because I want to fight the best guys, and that's why. And also, it makes sense for him too, because I don't do jiu-jitsu much. I don't do wrestling. I mean, inside the fight, if I need to do it, I will do it. But he don't really need to worry on these things. And I know he's a pure striker as well, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Stand and bang.
Exactly.
Hey, Giga, what's going on, man?
What's up, brother?
So, standing at 6 feet tall, you're considered huge as a featherweight, abnormally big. Yeah. In your future, not now because you're on a 5-fight win streak, but in the future, do you see yourself moving up possibly?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
My debut was at 155. Actually, guy didn't make the weight. He was 160. We fought at catchweight 160. I've done the fights at 165 and 172, but these fights were kickboxing. And, you know, in kickboxing, we don't really cut a lot of weight and stuff. But I fought the bigger guys too. So my plan right now is to use my reach, my height, everything what I need to do to make my name, and then after that I can fight you in 170 if there is some big names, you know.
Wow.
Maybe one day some what belt Masvidal has? BMF, right?
BMF.
Maybe.
All right, sounds good. So this is a sports podcast overall. We cover all sports. I know you're from Georgia. Any sports that you were into there or even now here that you follow or that you play other than mixed martial arts?
I'm a big fan of soccer. You guys call soccer, but we call football.
Football, yeah.
Football. So I'm a big fan of it. I used to play a little bit. I have a story. When I was young, like 9, 10, I had little problems on my heart because I was training. One of the first karate trainer was a little crazy. He made us do 7,000 abs on the one training besides no stop, like 7,000 abs, 2,000 squats, 500 push-ups and stuff like that. And if you would not do it, he would beat your ass or something. I don't know. It was crazy. So my family decided to take me on soccer classes because I was a huge fan, and they took me there. I played okay, not bad. And after like two weeks, they called to my dad and, hey, you guys need to go back in karate or something. What happened? My dad asked, and I beat the trainer's son because he's been bully, so I had to do it. You know? that was the reason.
I don't blame you.
They took me back. Yeah, no, but I used to play a lot soccer, and that's one of my favorite sports to watch. And also, I'm a big fan of judo because my dad used to be a judo wrestler, and I think he got me into this. And, Georgians have multiple Olympic champions. Some of those guys are my friends, and I really like to support my country because we are like 3.5 million, almost 4 million people.
Small country.
Small.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's just good to see my country athletes doing some achievements. So I always try to follow the sports from my country.
Of course. So we got a pretty big card tomorrow, UFC 250. Are there any specific fights that you're looking forward to watching? You have your eye on anyone?
All the featherweight fights for sure I'm gonna watch. And besides this, I'm enjoying to see the Sean O'Malley fight.
Yeah.
I feel like he's in positions that he's the upcoming star. I would say like. UFC supports him too. He has a big fan base too, and all the tools he has. It's just fun to watch this guy, and I'm looking forward to see his fight as well.
Awesome.
But what's going on, Giga? You touched a little bit before about when you came into MMA, the wrestling and jiu-jitsu part of you learning. Did anything surprise you about when you started training that? Like, is there something that did surprise you how hard it was, or is there anything about that you learned from?
Definitely, it didn't really surprise me. I knew that it would be the new sport. So I'm from the karate, which is like traditional mixed martial arts, and which teaches you the respect, first of all. And everyone was surprised at Kings when I put my white belt on the gi, and the guy who was world champion in karate, world champion, and the next day he shows up with a white belt and trains with completely beginner jiu-jitsu fighters. and they were like, "Oh, this guy is this fighting." I felt it, but I had to do it, and nothing was surprising for me. I mean, I mentioned that the only thing surprised me was when I lost the fight in World Series of Fighting with this bum. I would say that surprised me because I really thought I was going to knock him out. But yeah, wrestling worked for him, and I started to do beginning classes in Jiu-Jitsu first, and then I started to do wrestling with that time Mark Munoz had the classes at King's, and besides at King's, he had college wrestling classes with 15, 14 years old kids. I went there, nobody knew who I was, some big guy, like 28, 29 years old guy, like training with 14, it was so weird, the people were thinking, but I was doing my thing, man. Mark was really proud of it, and I was doing, I tried to learn all the ABC in both of the sports. And now I'm on different position, and now I'm trying to learn how to start some good submissions in my UFC career, and hopefully you guys gonna see it soon.
Going back a little bit back to your kickboxing background, is there like a fight that you have that like sticks out amongst the rest of all your kickboxing bouts that you've had? Like a favorite fight, or most memorable fight?
I would say like all my knockouts are memorable fights for me, and especially the kick that I'm doing, the people call Giga kick now.
Giga kick, yeah.
Yeah, liver shot with some fake movements. It's kind of, I mean, people started to call it Giga kick since I got a couple of knockouts. So of course, it's one of my special thing to see, and I'm proud of it too. People actually used inside the UFC cage. I hope you guys remember the fight against Matt Brown and Jake Ellenberger.
Yeah.
So I was helping that time the Jake, and I saw this thing would work for Matt Brown, and he got knockout in the first minute or two. So I'm really proud of it too. And many Kings guys are using this kick, and
I've never been kicked in the liver before, but I can't imagine that it feels pretty good.
Yeah, you know what's weird? Knockout with the head kick or punch, it's good. You knock somebody out, he's cold.
Yeah.
But there is another knockout, like you kick him in the liver or punch him in the liver, and you see the guy's down watching you, but he can't do shit.
Yeah.
He's just crying.
It's a different type of knockout.
It's a different level of knockout.
The body shuts down.
I have a story in 2017 in the beginning. There was some kid, French kid living in Thailand. He was big name in Muay Thai, and he was talking shit before my fight. He was sending me and posting the videos. And he has actually like almost 1 million followers or something. So big fan base. And we don't have in kickboxing and Muay Thai that kind of fan bases, And this guy was really popular, and he tried to talk shit. I'm emotional guy, especially at the moment. I was like cutting weight, and I was like, I'm gonna kill this guy. And the knockout like this makes you feel so much better, bro. It's something unique feeling I had.
Yeah.
Do you have like a dream opponent that like at some point in your career that you want to face, or that you could have faced, like somebody that?
Hell yeah, of course I want to get some millions. I want to fight Mayweather in the boxing. I want to fight Conor in the MMA. Of course, that's my plan. And I believe that I'm the fighter who can one day I become a UFC champion, and I want to challenge some boxing champion. I'm a hard worker guy, and I have all the tools. I've done. I was asked to start boxing career by trainers like big name trainer Abel Sanchez asked me. Nazem Richardson, the boxing trainer of Bernard Hopkins. They know me. They've seen me. I sparred Shane Mosley too, and the big names,
wow.
and in the boxing I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the kickboxing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this makes me think that one day when I become UFC champion, I'm gonna challenge some good boxer, and then it's not gonna be like Conor Mayweather, you know. It's gonna be different level boxing. Maybe I talk much, but this is what I believe, and this is what's my dream. So that was your question, and that's my answer.
Looking forward to it.
Yep, that's a great answer.
Yeah, it's great that you have, the confidence in yourself. It's very refreshing to see that. And, the sky's the limit for you, man. We're really pulling for you.
Yeah.
We really are.
Thank you. Thank you.
So there's usually 4 of us here. Our fourth co-host couldn't make it, but he had a question for you. So his name is
Sure.
Eddie, and he said he wanted to know, you have a business management degree. Outside the octagon, do you have any something you want to pursue with that degree, or something you want, like a business plan for that?
Say again, the business degree you mean, or
Yeah,
material?
it says you have a business management
I have
degree.
a business and management bachelor degree. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the best business what I have right now is my career, and I believe like all the hard work and even the money what I put and what my family put before in this, it's working right now, and it will be wasting of my time if I start right now something else, because I'm still new in UFC and I need to settle my name. And actually, it's funny that these days I've been thinking about karate school, because where I live right here is not good karate schools. It's different type of karate I used to train. I mean, it's more real than like this point things. And also the future, I really want to open Dutch kickboxing school in US. There is no Dutch kickboxing schools.
Oh, wow.
I'm planning to open in Georgia the Kings MMA branch. So we have you guys familiar with the Kings MMA school,
Yeah.
I hope.
Mhm.
So it's going to be good for new athletes in my countries, because somebody who will be talent, they can come and train with us and do their future career, and I would be happy to help all those students. And also I have a lot of plans, so I definitely trying to use my
That's great.
knowledge and education so far what I have, but not right now, because
Okay.
any minute what I'm spending, I feel like it's I'm on the right track right now, and I just don't want to disturb, because I've seen the fighters, like the very talented fighters, doing the opening a gym, starting little small businesses, and their career went not really well at some point. Still, they realize this.
You have to focus on the goal. I respect that. There's one goal right now: win a championship, be one of the greatest fighters in the UFC, and that's something that you should put 100% of your focus on. So that's great.
Yeah.
But going back to you said you lived in Holland for 7 years or so, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is Alistair Overeem is from there, correct?
Yeah, we used to be teammates.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
First 2 years, I used to train in the same gym where he used to come and train, called Golden Glory. It was oriented at Breda, city Breda. But I was a young kid. He was a big name. When we talked, like we fought on the same card. Now I talked to him, and he barely reminded myself.
Yeah.
So
well,
I was on his first day. We were kind of cool to each other. This guy don't remember nothing. I was like, wow, you guys got a lot of punches in your head.
Yeah.
He's taken quite a few blows, but as you saw in his last fight, he actually came back and won that, which was pretty incredible. But Giga, I want to ask you, when can we expect you in the octagon again? Are you shooting for July, August?
Fight Island.
Well, we know Fight Island.
If it's Fight Island, Barboza and me would be great for Fight Island, but I don't know. This guy that never answered me, never show any interest. Looks like UFC has a different plans for him.
Yeah.
But I really want to come back soon. I'm thinking exactly like that. End of the July, maybe a little bit earlier to July sounds good, and August. So no farther than August for sure. That's my plans. That's what I really want to do, and I'm messaging my manager and UFC almost every day that I'm ready.
Tell them the Gentleman Podcast want to see you fight again.
ASAP.
And we'll do it.
And they announced today that Fight Island, they're opening it up July 11th. So
July 11th, they said?
they made the announcement a little while ago. So
Soon.
and they said the Octagon's going to be on the beach. So
That's pretty cool.
It's different.
That's really cool. All right, Giga, it was fantastic talking to you. We're all big fans,
Thank
and we
you.
can't wait to
Thank
see
you.
you fight again. Did you have anything else you wanted to say to us or shout out anybody? or anything like that?
Real quick, for sure, I'm gonna mention my sponsors because all my support is, most of them is from Georgia, and I really want to give them shout out because without them it will be super hard to stay here, live here, especially with family, and I've been here 5 years, and all this time they've been helping me. So Acharabet is a casino bookmaker company which are helping me, and I'm an ambassador of this company. And besides this, there is a brand, the Petrocas Energy Group. They're my friends. They don't really care about shout-outs, but I still like to show them my love. And, of course, Bad Boy Company, which is, you guys know the brand.
Of course.
Yes.
So they've been helping me past few years since I moved here. This brand was like really, this logo was one of my favorite before. When I was like 15 years ago, I was like, oh, that's my eyes. That's what I was thinking. So I'm really happy that I have them and supporting me. So, yeah, that's my shout out.
Stay in touch, Giga, please. We would love to have you on again sometime in the future. You're always welcome.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that.
All right.
All right. Take care, guys.
Take care.
All the best.
Thank
Be
for you.
safe.
again.
Thank you.
welcome back, guys. Before we hit the core four, we're going to talk a little bit about the recent Jorge Masvidal news that came out. So Masvidal and UFC going back and forth for his contract negotiation for his fight that was supposed to happen July 11th. It was rumored to be Usman, then Nate Diaz, a little bit Connor. So a little back and forth. So Brian's going to read the quote. We're going to talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going on lately, but no one wants to fight in UFC anymore. It all comes down to money at the end of the day. Some people are greedy. It could be either the fighter or the company. But I just don't think this is the right time to do it with everything going on. But I digress. I'm gonna say what I'm gonna read Jorge Masvidal's tweet. History lesson for all the new fans that might have just started following my beautiful sport. 16 years I've been at this. Never once turned down a fight. Asked to go fight the number 3 at the time in his hometown across the pond. After a year off, knockout of the year nominee. Asked to fight number 5 at the time, and let's be real, I didn't have to fight him. Fastest knockout in the history of UFC. At Madison Square Garden, I am asked to fight 3 different guys, and I said yes to all 3. I fought in backyards, and those dudes never disrespected me the way I'm being disrespected now. I'm just curious what kind of money they're offering him that he's so disrespected at. I mean,
I heard $500,000.
That's disrespect. I mean, listen, I'm sorry. I know you're the BMF. That's not a real belt as far as I'm concerned, and as far as a lot of people are concerned. It's not a real belt. You have to beat a champion, and you didn't beat a champion. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're a tremendous fighter. You're one of the best, absolutely. But to be turning down money like this, I mean, you should be wanting to get in there. Prove to everyone, including your boss, including the company, why you deserve the money that you're trying to fight for. Prove it. Walking away and threatening to leave, asking for your release, you're only going to tarnish whatever career, whatever legacy you have.
Well, he thinks he's already proved it, which, I mean, I don't think anyone should be making millions unless you're a champion.
No.
I mean,
and let's be honest, a lot of the champions don't even make that.
That's what I was going to say. Not even the champions make, in the multiple million range.
Mighty Mouse Johnson. That guy was on top for years. The pound-for-pound best ever and still is one of the best ever.
I guess Dana White thinks the smaller the fighter is, the less money he gets.
I understand, and that's an old Vince McMahon mentality from wrestling. They like the big guys, and of course,
Yeah.
listen, those are the attractions. I get it, but talent shouldn't be regarded like that. I understand that he's fighting for more money, but this is not the way to go about it. Same thing with John Jones asking for his release. I mean, good riddance. I've been wanting to see you leave for a long time. So we're missing a couple of big key players in the top rankings of multiple divisions at this point. Henry Cejudo, quote unquote, retired, even though he's still, I think he's still under them. He's still on the roster. John Jones is supposedly leaving, or he vacated the title, whatever have you. And now Masvidal is threatening to leave, asking for his release. I don't know what's going on. This is the wrong time to do it. But I think what we're going to start to see are some other fighters who are going to step up to the plate and say, you know what, I'll take his spot. And listen, good for you. I hope a lot of people do it. Yeah, Gilbert Burns is going to be champ.
There's a lot of hungry fighters right now who want to take these people's spots. So a lot of hungry fighters up and coming in the ranks.
It's theirs for the
We've
taking.
been seeing that for like the past 3-4 weeks now. Too,
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I think what Masvidal is saying is Usman. I guess the fight is Usman he's talking about. And I think they're asking him to take a pay cut, but he's looking at it like, I just main evented one of the biggest pay-per-view of the year last year. I drew more people than him, but you want me to take less money? I think that's the way he's looking at it. I think this is just a power play to get more money, and So I don't.
Yeah, but the fight with Nate Diaz, it's a fake belt.
That's not what he's saying.
He's talking about the numbers, but at the end of the day,
it was a bigger fight.
It was a big fight, but it's not just him. And you have to remember, it's at Madison Square Garden. If that fight was anywhere else, it wouldn't have done the numbers because they don't have to say. I don't know about that. No, listen, I'm telling you right now, it makes a difference. When you promote a fight, any fight, at the world's most famous arena and get to say that it's at Madison Square Garden, it adds to it.
But
it doesn't help the Knicks, but you know.
Sorry.
I think he got lucky because he got the aspirin KO, and I know nobody's gonna like to hear this, but Nate Diaz is one of the biggest guys in the sport.
Yeah, I mean, anyone who's fighting Nate Diaz is gonna get good numbers.
Yeah,
listen,
and he was coming off that knockout, so he hit the perfect storm, Masvidal, and Masvidal is looking to cash in, which you can't blame. Listen, it's different than baseball players. These guys have a short window when they're in their prime to make money, and I can't fault him because, like, some of these fighters, there was a fight the guy who fought the guy Eddie doesn't like, the football player.
Greg Hardy
made $12K. I mean, these guys, but these guys don't make. So I understand. With fighters are the only sport guys that I understand. They want to make their money while they could because, listen, they have to. So I'm not faulting Masvidal for this one.
I will never fault anyone for trying to make more money, but don't go ahead and leave and. You're not worth what you're asking for. He's not. I don't believe he is. Not yet. Sorry.
I think he sees this as one shot to make big money. Because
he'll have plenty more opportunities, man.
I don't think so. I think he's got this Usman fight. I think Usman's going to beat him.
Listen to this.
And then he's not going to be relevant anymore after
Listen
that.
to this.
He's got the Colby fight. That's it.
Let's say he fights Usman. Let's say he wins. Right?
That's different. Yeah.
Let's say he wins. Then they want to offer him Conor. Then he's making that type of money. But he's not going to get that fight by threatening to leave and doing all this nonsense. If he wants that kind of money, he's going to have to fight for it.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
I think he's just trying to parlay this last year. That's it.
Oh, well.
Well, you guys want to move on to the Core 4?
Yes, I do.
Boom, 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 boom.
Let's do it. Gary, take us away. What's the topic for this week?
So your boys have been on a hot streak. Been interviewing big names in the MMA community. We're reaching out to all different sports. We're really hitting our stride here with these interviews. But we're thinking, and we want to think about people we wish we could interview, just anybody, whether they're alive, passed away, TV character, anything, anybody we could think of that we wish we could have here on the pod with your boys. So today's Core 4 is Core 4 of fantasy guests to have on the pod. That's it.
Let's do it.
All right, so let's bring up the randomizer like I always do?
Oh, stop it. It's not even a randomizer anymore, man.
Eddie
Names in a hat.
2, Eddie 2,
Jesus.
Brian
Just
4.
let me know. Am I 1 or 2 this time?
I'm afraid to do this every week. I always get yelled at. It's not my fault.
God,
I want to be number
man.
1.
All right, so we got Gary first,
All right.
Eddie second, of course,
What
Big
a,
Eddie
what a
P.
joke, man. This is a joke.
Brian
Pete
third,
likes it.
and me fourth.
All right,
This
whatever.
is ridiculous. Use a different website next time. How about that, man? Like,
Eddie number 2.
God, man.
You can't go wrong with that.
That should be your new nickname, Eddie number 2.
Eddie
No,
number
but
2.
let's not. I'm
Like
already getting used to
like
this
Austin
Eddie
Powers
P.
number 2. You're gonna be number 2.
Yeah, man. I'm worth more than number 2.
All right,
man.
Gareth,
Fuck outta here.
Gerald.
I can go a lot of ways with this.
Just come on, hurry up.
I'm going to surprise everybody.
Come on, just don't take my picks, man.
Michael Jordan.
I'm going Joe Rogan.
Good.
Oh.
That's a good pick. Great pick.
Oh.
Joe
Great pick.
Rogan.
I
Now,
applaud.
I'm
You're gonna have to
going
offer him $200 million for that.
I know. This is why I said fantasy, because I know the odds are. But I'm going to say Joe Rogan. He's very insightful. When you listen to him talk fights, it's like he's got such knowledge. And he's just like a student of the game. And he could just have great conversations. He has great conversations about anything. You know? So it's a little surprising because he really doesn't watch sports, and I love talking sports. But just to have a conversation with Joe Rogan on here, and just the way he's a great guy, and just to listen to him break stuff down is just awesome. So I'm going Joe Rogan.
Me and Eddie would talk to him about conspiracies.
I think we could do an entire season of
Yeah.
episodes for that one, man.
Sure.
Like,
Ancient aliens.
Jesus. Season 24. All right, my turn, man. Call 4, people you'd like to interview. Fantasy, fiction, whatever the case may be. My number 4, actually, I'm going to go on a serious note. It is sports related. I'm going to go with El Duque, Orlando Hernandez
okay.
for this
That's a
one.
good one.
That's a good
El
pick.
Duque.
Can you do the El Duque for us real quick?
No,
To what?
Duque.
Oh, no, definitely not. Maybe back in my prime, but I can't do that shit right now, man.
I can't lift my leg that high.
Nah, man, nah. I had a long day at work anyways. But nonetheless, yeah, man, El Duque, Orlando Hernandez. Just to be able to ask him, face to face, I mean, the hardships of having to come from Cuba, taking that trip all the way to Florida, reuniting with his brother, Livan Hernandez, who at the time was also in Major League Baseball at the time. Was it with the Marlins?
Marlins, yeah.
It was in the Marlins, right?
Yeah,
Just finished winning the title in 97, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, man, that's big stuff. And then for him to pursue his baseball career, end up on the Yankees, and then going 12-4 with a 3.13 ERA that rookie year. My opinion, rookie of the year, not being biased. Then to go 17-9 the year after. Oh, and also winning a World Series championship his first 3 years.
I was gonna
it's a
say,
big deal.
not to mention all of his success in the playoffs.
And it's
cold-blooded.
crazy. It's crazy. He ended up with 4 championship rings at the end of the day, man. Crazy, man. Who would have thought the Chicago White Sox would have won that year, man?
In a big game back then, there's no one else who I'd rather have than El Duque.
Oh, he was insane, man.
He had ice in his veins.
Insane. But yeah, man, El Duque.
Great
All right,
pick.
Gary.
No, it's me.
Oh, Brian.
But I trade my
Just
pick.
went-
Guys, I'm smiling.
Uh-oh,
See
here
me?
we go.
You know why I'm smiling?
Oh, man.
Because you're gonna say Brock Lesnar. We know.
Smiling Sam Alvey?
No, because my number 1 pick is someone we already interviewed, Chael Sonnen.
no.
Oh, chill. Yeah.
No, he's not on my
real
list.
original, man.
No.
Come on.
I'm just taking
Real
a second.
original.
I'm taking a second to take it all in and being very appreciative for the fact that we were able to interview him because he would have been the number 1 person on my list.
Chael's the man.
I'm just saying. So I'm very happy to have say that.
Soak it in like Socrates.
So this is in no order. But number 1, I'm actually going with Paul Heyman.
Oh,
Okay.
whoa.
I love Paul Heyman. I
Good
think
guy.
he's great business mind, number 1, but one of the greatest minds in professional wrestling history. And the stories this guy would have about ECW, which I'm a huge fan of, all his success in WWE. I mean, the guy is he's one of the smartest guys. And just to hear him talk, if you've ever heard him talk on a microphone, doing a promo, whatever, it's like it just flows naturally. And he never makes a mistake. The guy is amazing. He's funny, very smart. I pick Paul Heyman.
Yeah, Brian said great business mind. He actually taught a business entrepreneurship class at my college, and I almost enrolled in that class, but I never did. But
damn it, man! You should have.
And he's a New Yorker, so
Yep.
Yeah.
Paul Heyman.
Not to mention
Paul E.
Paul E.
All right.
Dangerously.
So I got 2 picks here.
Mm.
Let's see. All right. Here's what I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with a double dose of Frank. Double dose of Frank here.
Frank Costanza.
No, great guy. Rest in peace to him. But
Frank Shamrock?
no, definitely not. No.
Frankie Dormy?
Maybe the franchise Frankie Dormy.
All right, just go.
No, but I'm gonna go with Frank Sinatra.
Ah,
Oh.
good choice.
Frank
Shout
Sinatra, one
Shout out
of
to my grandma.
Old blue eyes.
yeah,
I thought you were gonna say Frank Stallone, but maybe
one
next
of
time.
my all-time favorite artists, musicians. I would just like to hang out with him, talk to him, smoke a cigar with him. Just talk about his music and his experiences. He dated the who's who of celebrities back in the day. Just to listen to his stories, that would be pretty damn amazing. So
I
I'd
agree. That's a great pick.
love to interview him.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Maybe
Be
have
able
him
to
sing a
talk.
song live.
Talk Brooklyn Dodgers, Ebbets
Yeah.
Field.
All the old school
You
stuff,
know,
man. All the old school
you know,
stuff.
I would want to ask if my grandma really gave him bologna sandwiches at the concerts.
He's also a degenerate gambler. He owed a lot of money, but we're not going to talk
He
about that.
did. He did. He
Listen,
probably put out a hit on a lot of people too.
All
man.
the
We all
goats,
have
all
our
the
demons.
goats, all the goats do.
yeah,
For real.
Great
Jordan.
pick, though. Very good. Good pick.
So that's my first Frank. My second Frank, bringing it back to MMA, I would love to interview Frank Mir. One of my all-time favorite fighters. Just to listen to him talk about jiu-jitsu. There's not a lot of big guys, heavyweights, that really were a jiu-jitsu first fighter. Usually these heavyweights are wrestlers, they're brawlers, they're sluggers. Frank Mir really brought jiu-jitsu to the mainstream as far as heavyweights go. And he was breaking people's arms, submitting the greatest people, at the time. I would love to just talk to him about his experiences in the UFC. He's been there since the beginning, and just jiu-jitsu in general. So, Frank, I know you're on your own podcast, but if you ever want to join us one day, that'd be great.
Good pick. Solid pick. He was also a very good commentator.
Yes,
Awesome
he was.
commentator.
WEC, I loved him in WEC.
Very good
He's
commentator.
awesome.
So for my next pick, I am going with El Presidente. And no, not Donald Trump. I'm talking about El Prez, Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports. This guy is someone I know Gary as well as me. I look up to this guy. I really do. He was handing out sports newspapers in Massachusetts 15 years ago. Trying to start his own sports platform to talk about sport. He loves sports like us. He just loves sports. And he was literally standing on the corner handing out newspapers, started from the bottom. This guy is worth millions today, and he owns Barstool Sports, which is one of the biggest websites.
Shout out to PFT, Big Cat, and Part of My Take, guys. Best sports podcast out there.
Absolutely.
Besides us.
we're right there. We're right under them.
Right behind them. Love those guys.
And I look up to all those guys as inspirations. But Dave, another person we would love to have on the podcast. I'd love to do
Absolutely, man.
Love to do a pizza review with you. A one-bite pizza
man.
review. Everyone knows the rules. But yeah, I'm going with El Prez.
Great pick, brother. Great pick. Oh, that's my turn now again. For numero 3, for me, I'm going to go with Charles Barkley on this one.
Wow, that's a great pick.
Charles Barkley, yes.
You're going Uncle Oak.
Listen, you need to stop pressuring Mr. Oak with me, man. My man. Like, yo,
Big
that's
Bill Weddington.
done for, man.
Big Bill.
Big Bill. Anyways, Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley, I mean, come on, man. Everybody knows him, at least this generation especially will know him as the lead guy. Sorry, Ernie, but Charles Barkley is the guy who everybody literally tunes into every Thursday night on Inside the NBA, man.
That's terrible.
It's. I mean, you could quote him for days. Yeah, there's always been controversy with Well,
He's not
not
afraid
some,
to
but
say
a
it.
lot. You know,
I love Barkley personally. I think he's the
I
man.
mean, Barkley, he, most of the time there's no filter with what he has to say, and a lot of people respect him for that, me included. But man, I mean, never mind his commentating career, but the guy was a hell of a ball player, bro, man. Like, his rebounding numbers at one point were just ridiculous and not bad for someone who's 6'4", 6'5".
Second greatest power forward of all time.
And who's the first?
Tim Duncan, same close.
Tim Duncan.
Okay. I thought you were going to say somebody. Anyways. But yeah, man,
Very good
Barkley.
choice.
Charles Barkley, brothers.
Very solid.
Go,
Gary got 2 picks.
We'll go with my all-time favorite wrestler, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Great pick.
Just love to sit here, drink some brewskis with him.
Shoot the breeze.
Shoot the breeze, hear stories with him. I met him once before. Awesome. That was awesome. But just to talk to him, ask him stories. Yeah, years ago.
He got the condemned signed.
Yeah, I got the
Of all Stone Cold related things to get
that
signed,
was all I
got,
could get. That was
he
all I
got one of the
could.
worst movies
What?
of all
Are
time.
you kidding me? The
Quick
what?
story. So we went. No,
Copy
wait.
of the condemned?
Wait,
What?
so here's the story. He had a signing. We went. You couldn't. Because nobody was buying the DVD to get the signature. You had to take the DVD, buy it, and he would sign it for you. That's how you can meet him.
Where was this at? FYE?
It sounds like a Barnes and Noble.
It was, yeah, it was at like the city somewhere. I left school early that day, so.
Maybe a
come on,
bookends or
dude.
something.
But he wrestled. He's the goat of wrestling in my opinion, and he wrestled in one of the best eras of wrestling. Just to hear him,
Attitude Era.
He has a great podcast as it is, and just to hear him talk, and want to ask him about his beer drinking. I listen. I love Stone Cold. He's the greatest wrestler of all time. But I know you didn't drink all those beers. You can see it all gone by there, Stone Cold. I'm on to you.
That's another legitimate conspiracy theory right there to ask him about, man.
Yeah, listen. I'll ask the hard-hitting questions with you, and I'll ask you to give me a stunner afterwards. And the second one.
Oh, go ahead.
No, Eddie, finish because I'm gonna move on.
No, I was just gonna say, man, Austin, man, if you ever watch this podcast, man, by all means, man.
Eddie,
I got it.
And that was Eddie shooting a shot.
Story for that one, man. Like,
bang, bang, bang.
And the third one, I'm going with Kobe. R.I.P. Kobe, just because I like watching guys break down stuff for sports. Kobe broke things down, and before he passed, he released. He was on a couple podcasts. He was on the Up in Smoke podcast with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson, which is a great one. And he just the way he breaks things down and talks, and the way he tells stories about games, and just hearing him and talk about the nuances, I would have loved to have a conversation with Kobe. But those are my two right there.
Wow, that was not bad. Gotta circle one out now, man.
You can't beat Stone Cold and Kobe, bro. Good, solid
Damn it,
picks.
man. Took
Edward.
both of my next pick, man. It's all right. I got backup though.
Seth Rollins.
Because
Barry Horowitz.
for my numero 2 pick for this one.
No, 3.
I'm gonna go
3.
with a
He
trick.
goes
Jesus
Christ. Oh yeah, sorry.
I start last, man. 4,
Bro,
3,
it's
2,
so
man.
confusing.
Don't do
It's
it like that.
It's like he's in the NBA draft. He's like, you know what? I'm not going to take LeBron as I am. I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to take Darko and work my way up.
Just go, Eddie. Just go.
Anyways, before I was interrupted, my next pick. I'm telling you,
my God.
a one-of-a-kind trailblazer.
Monica Patrick.
It's ridiculous. Like at one point, she was married to Aaron Rodgers. I mean, come on.
Oh,
Ava
Can't
Devine.
go wrong. Yes, I get a lot of slack for one of my core 4 picks a couple weeks back, but I don't care. I'm gonna go with her again. Danica Patrick.
I told
you for this one, man.
You know what?
I mean,
Pause the
listen, I don't
segment.
care.
Pause the segment. Eddie,
What?
shoot your shot with Danica Patrick. Go.
Oh, my
Go.
God.
No, I can't shoot my shot. No, she's too busy, man.
I never knew you had a thing for Danica Patrick.
Listen, this is more of a mutual business, respect type of thing, man.
You watch NASCAR?
What? Listen,
Of course he does.
Do you?
It's not my forte, so to say, man. But
That was boring.
when there's not,
It's not even
listen,
a sport.
when
So what's
there's
the Bell
nothing on
Parkland?
TV, the what?
Go on the Bell Parkway and watch cars. There you go.
Go on the Bell Parkway. Fuck
Oh my
that,
God.
man. Like shit.
I don't even know.
Go
what
on
to say.
Atlantic Ave over by the Barclays, man. That's all you need to do, man.
You have a
Jesus.
Danica Patrick fetish. It's crazy.
Wow.
No, I don't, man.
We learn
No, I
something
don't.
new every
Listen,
episode.
Listen, enough, man. Enough with these learning. New
Listen,
shit
Eddie,
about
we don't judge here
Listen,
on the
I
Gentleman
don't see
Podcast.
the
Judgment-free
hate,
zone.
though, man.
I'm judging. I'm 100%
listen,
judging
No,
right
no,
now.
no. The only
Danica
judge here is
Patrick
Aaron
was
Judge.
a trailblazer, brother. Yo, she's the Amelia Earhart of NASCAR. Yes, I just said it, man.
Wow.
All right, fair
I'm
enough.
telling you.
Fair
Okay.
enough.
I'm telling you.
Listen, this is your pick. You have all
You
rights to say whatever you
you-
want.
It's
If you were gonna double dip,
it's
you
a
should've-
solid list.
If you were going to double dip, you should have said G Baby.
Anyway, Brian.
Love
Why,
it when you
what?
call me Big
That makes no
Papa.
sense, man.
All right.
Come on.
My next pick, I'm going with the late, great James Gandolfini, Tony Soprano.
Waiting for that.
Yeah, it's no surprise. I'm a huge Sopranos fan. I have literally a picture on my desk. Of
Wait,
Tony.
hold on. Do you want to interview James Gandolfini or do you want to interview Tony Soprano? You have to
Great
clarify.
question, Pete.
You have to clarify.
James Gandolfini.
Okay.
Yeah, because all you hear, and I know a lot of people can easily say, oh, it's because he's not here anymore. People always say nice things, but even when he was alive, his fellow castmates had nothing but amazing things to say about him. He was the nicest guy in the world, give the shirt off his back type of guy. And, even Robert Funaro, friend of the show, came on the pod recently. He had nothing but great things to say. So I got to go with James Gandolfini.
Beautiful.
My dad had a run-in with him years ago. We're not going to talk about that.
That's a great pick, man. Really great pick.
Thank you. You're up, Pete.
So,
Your final two.
all right. So my final two. All right.
Don't talk with your mouth full.
All right. Let me finish this popcorn. It's a little stale.
This is turning to what is it called?
It's a little stale.
ASMR. What is it called?
yeah. All right.
Oh,
so
man.
I'm finished with the popcorn now. So my
All
final two picks. I'm gonna go number one. Yogi Berra.
Oh.
Nice.
Yogi
Wow.
Berra. Great Yankee catcher.
Mm.
I mean, honestly, I was debating between him and Thurman Munson.
Mm.
You gotta
But-
go Yogi.
Right on my wall, Thurman Munson.
I love Thurman. Rest in peace to him. Gone way too soon.
Shout
But
out
Yogi-
number 15.
Just to listen to the Yogiisms, just the way he talks about, and he's been around forever, and the way he talked about baseball and the things he's seen, and just the funny things he says, like the Yogiisms. I would love to pick his brain.
He's like that in real life. I met him once at an
Yeah.
autograph show. Me and my cousin were last, and we talked for like 5 minutes. He was unbelievable.
Are his ears really that big?
Yes.
Wow.
So I think that would be an incredible interview, considering how big of a Yankee fan I am, and we all are, to have Yogi Berra. But
That's a good
Very
one.
good pick. Very good pick.
going back to the entertainment world, acting, I'm going to go with one of my favorite actors, Joe Pesci.
That's a good pick, too,
Listen,
man.
how amazing would it be to have Joe Pesci on the podcast?
That is a good pick.
The guy is just flat out hilarious. He's been in some of the greatest movies of all time, the greatest mob movies of all time. Goodfellas, Casino. He's been in Home Alone 2, two of the greatest Christmas movies of all time. He's just an all-around, lovable character, great character, and I would love to have the opportunity to talk to him.
Great pick.
Yeah.
For my final pick, you guys said it before. Listen, you can't have a yin without a yang. I said Paul Heyman. We're going Brock Lesnar.
There you go.
Now, there's a couple of reasons. No, hold on a second.
Can we have him and Frank
listen,
Mir at the same time?
Danica Patrick, take a seat. Listen to me for a second.
Oh, come on, man.
How many
Oh.
Brock Lesnar interviews do you see on the internet?
Not many.
Not many at all. And from the people who know him best, they have nothing but good things to say about him. They say he's actually a sweetheart if he's actually your friend. And he's my favorite athlete of all time. Pro wrestling, MMA. I mean, he dabbled a little bit in football, but not really. But the guy is just a freak athlete. He's my favorite of all time. People can say what they want about him. Yeah, controversial, whatever. He's my favorite. I would love to talk to him, just, pick his brain for a little while. So I'm going Lesnar.
All right. Very
Not bad.
unexpected.
Yeah.
Not bad at all, man.
You're up, Eddie.
It was
Eddie,
expected, but not expected, if that makes any sense.
Eddie, this is your last pick. It's also your first pick. However you want to look at it.
Okay, yeah. I know where I'm looking at it. I don't know where Brian's looking at it right now. So, all right. For this one, I am going to the entertainment world for this one. I love movies. You guys know that. I mean, I've spent plenty of days throughout my life just
Eddie,
fucking watching movies, my man. Like,
does this person's initial start with S-L?
SL. No,
First
it
name
doesn't.
starts with an S, last name.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's a notable though.
Wait,
man.
Eddie, what movies you talking about? Like adult movies?
No, I'm not talking
Oh.
adult.
The
Come on,
movies you
man.
find on the dark
Because
web.
remember, this is a kid's show. Sorry,
Oh,
guys.
please. It's a kid's show. Yeah.
Great.
Just for the record, the first time I ever watched Showgirls, I was 5 years old. So let's
Okay.
talk about movies.
Okay.
Anyways.
When was the first time you watched Real Sex on HBO?
All right, kid show. Go, Eddie,
maybe,
go.
Maybe 7.
Shout
But
out to Channel 59.
No, but
Oh, my God.
you guys ruined this whole thing, by the way.
Just go.
man.
Just go.
I'm going with Marty Scorsese for this one.
All right.
Poor
I
Marty.
thought you were going Spike Lee, man. I thought you were going
Jesus
Spike
Christ,
Lee.
man.
Poor Marty. That was a terrible way to bring it in.
God, man. I'm actually trying to be serious. Oh, damn, man. Marty Scorsese, he's literally had one great movie maybe every 10 years or so. So he's got classics for days, man, for days. Whether it's Mean Streets, Goodfellas.
The list is endless.
I mean, Gangs of New York. Working with actors with
Wolf of Wall Street.
DiCaprio. Oh, Wolf
Yeah.
of Wall Street, man. That's another
One of the best movies of all time.
Should have won DiCaprio his first Oscar, in my opinion, man.
He should have won it before that. But yeah, no, I agree.
Years before
Yeah,
that, man.
but that's a conversation for another time.
Yeah, seriously. But I mean, you can't go wrong with a Martin Scorsese movie. I don't know anybody who's ever said they've watched a bad Martin Scorsese.
Believe it or not, a lot of people didn't like The Irishman.
I was going to say the most common complaint about Scorsese's movies are sometimes they run a little too long.
Yeah, that was a major.
Me personally, I like a nice long movie. I'll be honest with you.
Seriously. If you like movies, time limit should never be a problem. Man.
Especially if it's a good movie.
But
Seriously,
even
man.
with Goodfellas, people say like that whole part when it jumps forward to the 80s should have been left out. You know, it was just
Once
there
you
as
hear
filler.
the music,
Yeah.
dun, 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 with the helicopter, I know.
Yeah.
But it's still timeless. It's still a fantastic movie.
It's
great pick,
seriously, man.
Great pick,
Marty,
Eddie. Great pick.
If you're watching, man, you're always welcome.
All right, I'm gonna end this off. I'm gonna go with Mike Tyson.
All right.
Tyson follow his career. It's just so much to unpack from his humble beginnings, to him being the youngest heavyweight champion, to his downfall, to now his resurgence. Like, the guy's done and seen all. He's been in so many situations, big fights. He's just, and ever since he cleaned up his act, he's an awesome guy. I just would love to hear stories about like what he's gone through and all the stuff, like the stuff that's gone on in his career, boxing, the entertainment aspect, the struggle he went through growing up in Brooklyn, in Costamato. I just would love to hear all that in Coach Tyson. I have some of my notables.
Mm-hmm.
The usuals: Michael Jordan, Derek Jeter, Patrick
Patty
Mahomes.
Mahomes, the three I said before.
Patty Mahomes, yep. Chuck Liddell.
That was
had a second
Gary's
list
original
prepared,
list.
man.
That was Gary's original list, and then Brian said it, so then he had to change
No, wait. Also, I have Bart Simpson,
Oh,
Waldo. Where's Waldo?
Okay.
Bill Simmons. I would love to talk basketball with Bill Simmons. Swiper. Brian brought up Swiper last week. I just want to know. And Crash Holly.
who?
Crash Holly.
Oh, Crash.
Wait,
Holly.
why'd you say swiper? You want to know what? Why he keeps swiping?
Yeah.
Gary, all right, Pete. Honorable mentions.
Honestly, I really don't have any. I wrote down Bernie Williams,
Ah.
I like him,
I have a former Yankee as well, actually.
and I also wrote down Joey Diaz.
Oh, great
fun.
pick.
Joey
Great
Diaz, very
pick.
fun. Freddie Williams doesn't get mentioned with the call for you.
Yeah, he should. He fucking
should.
should, man.
It's funny because no, he definitely should.
He's
I actually
underappreciated.
have another Yankee from that time period. Eddie, you go.
I got obviously Spike Lee. No thanks to Peter for that one. Spike Lee, LeBron James for obvious reasons.
LeBron.
Well, yeah,
So you can
LeBron,
curse him
man.
out? So you can curse
Well,
him
no,
out, right?
just to have, a simple, mano-a-mano face-off, bro. Just to ask him, thank you for ruining my sports life after 2010, man. Thank you. It was bad enough before that, man. But anyways, yeah. So LeBron, Spike Lee, I had Stone Cold, Vince McMahon was on the list.
He's on mine too.
And, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
All right.
I also had Vince McMahon. Obviously, he's the godfather of wrestling. I mean, not the godfather, but you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I got Vince. I actually have Kane. He's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. He's actually an incredibly smart guy. I mean, he's the mayor of Knoxville, Tennessee. Yeah. I've had the pleasure of meeting him before. Awesome guy, very smart. Blake Snell, Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal, because he was in my quarantine party. I love Shaquille O'Neal. And a former Yankee, Scott Ferocious Brocious. He was my favorite during that time period. Just because of the name. I mean, the guy was amazing, but that's my list.
I left two out. Mike Trout and Kimbo Slice.
Oh, Mike Trout.
Shout out to Kimbo. All right.
Kimbo's the man.
Kimbo was awesome. But,
so everyone just reiterate their top four real quick. I'll start with mine. I got Frank Sinatra, Frank Mir, Joe Pesci, and Yogi Berra.
I got El Prez, Dave Portnoy, James Gandolfini, Brock Lesnar, and Paul Heyman.
I've got El Duque, Orlando Hernandez, Charles Barkley, the lovely Danica Patrick, and Marty Scorsese.
I got Joe Rogan, Stone Cold, Kobe, and Mike Tyson.
All right. Awesome.
So
sounds good.
Guys, this was the UFC 250 breakdown. Thank you for watching. Thank you for Giga for the interview. Take down our picks. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, follow, and remember, we are the gentlemen.
And this is the podcast.
Danica Patrick, invitation's open. You and Eddie, you guys can have a Zoom date. We'll just sit here and watch.
See you guys next time.
Thanks for the embarrassment, man. Come on, man. Jesus. I'll never have my chance now. Thanks a lot.
Peace.
Yo, from the start, I'ma finish it. Yo, and from the start, I'ma finish it. Cause I'm a running man on a mission. From the start, I'ma finish it.